Hi everyone, welcome to the Kalima Star channel. This is Kalima, and in this video I'm going to be talking about something that is very close to my heart and is an integral part of my childhood, and is something that I'm actively healing as an adult, and that is the mother wound. So right now, depending on what type of content you're consuming on social media, or whether or not you're in therapy, or like how far along you are on your own personal journey, you've probably heard about shadow work. And basically it's just the theory that is necessary to go within ourselves and to heal the emotions that we weren't allowed to express because they're embarrassing or shameful. So the parts of ourselves and our feelings that we would be deeply, deeply embarrassed for other people to know. So resentment, shame, grief, feeling humiliated, that type of thing. A lot of anger and rage. It lives very deep inside of us because we just don't have a culture that allows people to speak freely and to point fingers and name names, basically. Because if you're a child and you have all that going on, you have those feelings, likely it's your circumstances or your family or your surroundings that's making you feel anger. Like, we're not talking about the deep-seated anger of like your sibling eating your snacks. No, this is like much deeper stuff of being taken advantage of, humiliated, abused, neglected. Very, very deep, very dark, important stuff that can't just be covered up with makeup, covered up with a 6-figure job, covered up with buying a house or a car. So this is just one of those one core wound that came up for me when I was doing my shadow work was the mother wound. And I have like a very a very deep one. And so here I want to talk about what it is and then why does it matter. So the mother wound basically is what happens when a mother or a mother figure, because it could be maybe you grew up with your grandmother, or you grew up in foster care, or you were raised by another person that wasn't your biological mom. So the maternal figure closest to you caused you emotional pain and neglect. Maybe they didn't validate your emotions enough. Maybe there was emotional abuse. Maybe it was more important to them that you're obedient than it was that you're actually safe, or that you're happy or well, like mentally happy, mentally well. And even if your maternal figure, even if your mother was overwhelmingly a positive influence, like let's say you say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, she was a great mom, she loved me so much, there still are things that your mother did or didn't do that can lead to a mother wound. I do think some people have a deeper core wound than others. Obviously, if your mother was extremely abusive, or if she exploited you, then there's going to be a deeper wound than someone whose mother just, maybe she had 5 other children and she was simply busy. Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's you have a wound or you don't. The entire planet has a mother wound. Like, there's even a collective mother wound for all of us. We've been under patriarchy for 6,000 years. That mother wound is ancient at this point. And that actually adds to my point about, even if your mother was a good mom, even if she was loving, supportive, nurturing, she was always there, she sacrificed her whole life, there's nothing she wouldn't do. Even still, the fact that your mother and her mother and her mother's 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 mother was born into a system that was directly set up to work against women means that she still carries even the remnants of patriarchal control. It's the air that we breathe. So this isn't like a video where we all get together with pitchforks and we're like burn the moms. This is not that. But it's just me wanting to point out that that feeling within us, that core mother wound, it spills out when we don't acknowledge it. When we don't acknowledge that, like, yeah, I felt neglected as a kid because my mom was always busy. Like for me, a lot of my core mother wound, and I'll talk about it later in a different video, but a lot of my core mother wound has to do with the fact that my mother spent a huge portion of my childhood being a mother to her husband. So to my father, her husband. She was more of his mother than she was my mother in a lot of ways. Like, of course, she cooked, she cleaned, she fed me, she sent me to school, she checked my homework. She did the logistical tasks of a mother. But when it came to nurturing, she was inconsistent. She was inconsistently available to me for like emotional support. Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. But she was never unavailable for my father. Never. There was never a time. And he used her because he had an even more severe mother wound than me. And ironically, the fact that he, my father, never healed. Not only did he not heal from it, he didn't even acknowledge it. His mother was extremely awful. And this is, it's hard to talk about the dead and to talk about people in your own lineage. But I don't think that pretending and lying and covering up and hiding or whatever, I don't think that does anyone any favors. My grandmother was a horrific mother. She had no business. She had no business having children. She was abusive. She was lazy. She was a pick-me to the 10th degree. Her solution for her husband cheating on her every 20 minutes was to have another baby. She was that type of woman. Oh, he's cheating? Have another baby. Have another baby. Have another baby. Have another baby. So all her kids are with the same man, her husband. But, however, she parentified her children. And since my father was her oldest child, he essentially became the mother for all the rest of their siblings. So it just felt like to him, his parents were constantly fighting and breaking up. His father was constantly in the streets chasing behind other women. And then his mother would get pregnant again, bring home a new baby to put in his arms, and then she would be right back out in the streets with the father. Now, that's heavy. That's a very heavy, severe core wound. I really wish that he had, I know therapy wasn't a thing back in the olden days, in the 1900s, but I wish that he had talked to somebody, if he got a journal from Dollar Tree and just wrote down how that made him feel until he at least purged all those feelings. So anyway, I say this to say, like, this entire channel is just a gift, a gift to myself, a gift to my ancestors, and a gift to anyone else who has generational trauma and who wants to do and be and have more than the people in their family. Like, I am the branch that's healing the whole family tree, because I'm actually unpacking this and I'm deconstructing just get married and then let a man be the center of your entire life. Like my grandmother being a pick-me, which wasn't her fault completely because she had to be taught that. She didn't learn it. Someone taught it to her. Her culture taught it. Christianity taught it. Greater society taught it. And she absorbed that message and then she just over-executed on it. She really took it to the 10th degree, yeah. And so her being a pick-me is what gave all of her children, not just my father, all of her kids have a mother wound. They have a father wound too. But I do think, and I can't prove why, I do think that the mother is more significant to children. Maybe it's because we literally need them to survive. The first sound we hear after our ears develop in the womb is the sound of our mother's heartbeats. Like, we're quite literally a part of their body. And so, as much as the father wound exists, the mother wound is like extremely deep, and it just ripples throughout families if nobody stops it and no one says like, hey, what the hell, like let's stop here, let's get this out in the open. This is how my mom affected me, this is how it made me feel, this is the love that I didn't get, and this is how it made me feel, this is the abuses that I suffered, and this is how it made me feel, instead of pretending that it doesn't exist and just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna make my own family, and then when I make my own family, it's gonna be a fairy tale, and I'm just gonna do everything right that my mommy didn't do. Like, I'm the product of that type of thinking, and I'm telling you right now, results may vary, mileage may vary. It might work, but it certainly didn't work for me. In fact, it compounded the trauma. It severely compounded it in my family. So yeah, that just wraps it up for this video, but I will keep talking about this topic, and I just cannot wait to delve even deeper and go into like more stories and case studies. If you're in the comments and you're like, me too, like I have a story, this was my mother wound, or what, even if you have questions about it and you're like, I still don't get it, what does that mean? My mom was a great person, does that mean that I have a mother wound? Yes, but probably not a severe one. Anyway, you just drop a comment, because I'm going to be on this topic for a while, and I have a lot to say, and I hope that y'all do too. So I will see you in the next video.